To General Museveni, I know you don't like listening to young people or even listening to anybody at all, but at least listen to your friend and Bush war comrade, General Kainda Otafire. I want you to remember that Uganda was here before you, and Uganda will be here long after you are gone. You don't have to burn it down on your way out. The best guarantee for your legacy, for your security, and for what you and your people have earned in the last 40 years is to allow a peaceful, orderly, and democratic transition of power.
They said change was coming in 2021. Bobi Wine was hailed as the face of Ugandans' future, the voice of the young and the restless. Yet, we are here in 2025 again, still speaking about Bobi Wine. And this year, we are looking at the 2026 elections, and once again, it's Bobi Wine versus Yoweri Museveni. Museveni is now 81 years old and has been in power since 1986. That is almost 4 decades of dominance. He truly has outlived, outlasted, and outmaneuvered opponents. I mean, just even forget about Bobi Wine, but look at what they have done to Kizza Besigye and among many other opposition leaders that have been coming in Uganda. Well, before we even dive deep into Uganda's election, I want you to take 3 seconds of this video to just hit on that subscribe button and also hit on that notification bar so that anytime Africa is Marwa, there's a video, you're able to be notified. To understand Uganda's election, we must first understand the man at the center of it. I mean, the Mzee himself, Yoweri Museveni. Museveni came to power in January 1986 after years of guerrilla warfare. He was a soldier by then. During that time, many Ugandans celebrated him as a liberator, a person who would restore peace after years of dictatorship under Idi Amin and Milton Obote. But fast forward, today, Museveni has become the very thing that he opposed. He was opposing the dictatorship and now he has ruled for over 4 decades. I mean, he has clinged into power. He doesn't want to leave at all costs. He has said he's going to last in power, maybe until his death. Over the years, Museveni has been seen as a person who has been overruling constitutional changes to entrench his rule. First, he started with the term limit. He scrapped it back in 2021, and then the age limit was removed. These changes cleared the path for him to run in both 2021 and now he wants to run in 2026 again. His rule has been marked by a tight grip of, the military rule and the police and the key state institutions. We have known how Uganda is more of like a police state, and the citizens have been very silent. I don't know when the Ugandan youth will be rising. In Uganda, dissent is met with a lot of force. Opposition voices are silenced. I mean, I even mentioned the case of Kizza Besigye, and elections are marred by accusation of rigging and intimidation. And yet, Museveni insists that his leadership is still necessary, calling himself a father figure, a stabilizer, and a Pan-Africanist. Of course, he is a Pan-Africanist, the Mzee himself. But does this mean clinging to power forever? Museveni recently announced that he will vie in 2026. But he said this is going to be his last election. But the big question is, will many Ugandans trust him? Will he really leave power? Because we've known Museveni to be a very good person who wins Ugandans, but we're yet to know that.
Ladies and gentlemen, comrades in the struggle, I am deeply humbled and profoundly honored to accept your nomination to be the next president of the Republic of Uganda for the year 2026 to 2031.
Standing in Museveni's way once again is Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu, better known, or if you know him by the stage name, Bobi Wine. I mean, from a celebrated pop star to a political phenomenon, Bobi Wine has become the symbol of resistance, especially for Uganda's youth. With over 75% of the country's population being under 35, his message actually resonates highly with many Ugandans that a new Uganda is very possible. In 2021, Bobi Wine mounted a fierce challenge against Museveni. His campaign, although, was met with arrest, torture of his supporters, internet blackouts, and heavy military presence across the country. They even gave him a curfew of not leaving his homestead. Official results declared the winner being Museveni with a whopping 58%, but many Ugandans and international observers cried foul, saying that this wasn't a true reflection of the election results. Despite the odds, Bobi Wine's popularity did not fade. It actually grew. He became a rallying point for democratic movement, not only in Uganda, but even across Africa. Now, in 2026, he is back. He has been cleared to run once more, and this time, he is determined to prove that Ugandan's future cannot be held by one man and his family. Is he going to oust Yoweri Museveni? But now, I want us to just watch this speech that he made, very powerful, after he was cleared to vie.
Fellow Ugandans, ladies and gentlemen, comrades in the struggle, I am deeply humbled and profoundly honored to accept your nomination to be the next president of the Republic of Uganda for the year 2026 to 2031, not 1926 to 1931. I thank you very much for the trust that you've continued to place in me ever since I offered myself for the first time for the presidential office in 2021. Today, my heart is filled with a deep sense of responsibility to deliver to that trust that you've put in me. Together, we have been everywhere preaching the message of a new Uganda. And today, with this nomination, we start on the final phase of our mission to freedom and true independence. Since our nation was born in 1962, every change of leadership has been written in blood, the blood and sacrifice of the common people of Uganda, the citizens of Uganda, and yet the leaders who always promised liberation have always delivered oppression. For 40 long years, one man and a small group of his relatives and friends have ruled our country on gunpoint. They have looted our nation and turned every institution of government into a tool of oppression. They have reduced the citizens of Uganda into slaves on their own land. They have reduced all of us into beggars, and they've turned our poverty into a tool of control. And yet, our country is not poor. Our country is rich. Our country cannot fall down. Our country will stand firm. Ladies and gentlemen, our country is fertile. Our people are hardworking and enterprising. We are rich in creativity. We are resourceful. We are energetic. We are young, and we are promising. Our country is one of the richest countries on the planet in terms of natural resources. So, my brothers and sisters, our problem is not lack of wealth. Our problem is lack of leadership. Leadership that serves the people instead of terrorizing them and exploiting them. Leadership that seeks to uplift the citizens instead of enslaving them. Sisters and brothers, this is not the first time that we stand before you with a dream of a new Uganda. We first made our attempt 5 years ago in 2021. Hundreds of our brothers and sisters were tortured. Many of them were arrested, and they're still in prison as we speak right now. Many were killed, and many are missing to the present day. And yet, we refuse to give up. I know that many of you are now asking, why then do we go to the polls? Why do we risk the tear gas, the bullets, the prisons, the torture chambers, the death, and all the mess that is awaiting us? My answer to you is this: we risk it all because the alternative is giving up, and that is 10 times worse. If we give up now, we shall have no moral authority to complain about what happens next. If we surrender now, that means that the fighting spirit of Rita Nabukenya, of Frank Senteza, of Yasin Kauma, and many others has been defeated. It means that they died in vain. It means betrayal. Betrayal of the comrades who have spent years in prison, counting on us who still have our little freedom to continue fighting for their freedom. Therefore, ladies and gentlemen, no matter what happens to us, we must keep moving forward. Even if somebody tells you that our chance to freedom is only 1%, let us take that chance and fight. We have always been telling you about the protest vote, and today, let me use this opportunity to break it down in more detail. We have voted before. We have won elections before, and we have been rigged before. But the election this time is no usual election, brothers and sisters. We are going into this election as a way of protesting against the injustice that has been occasioned to us for the last 40 years. We are protesting, and the protest begins now. We must use this election season to rally the people of Uganda, to express their anger and to express their hope at the ballot box. We are going to use this election to protest legally. We are going to use this election to protest constitutionally. And we are going to use this election to protest non-violently. We must mobilize the people of Uganda to come out and vote in very, very large numbers. Numbers too big to rig. We must lay different strategies and make different plans to ensure that we, the people of Uganda, get our freedom in this season. Now, to our brothers and sisters in the diaspora, you, brothers and sisters, the Ugandans in the diaspora, you send so much money. You send more than $2 billion back to Uganda every year. In real sense, you are the biggest investors in Uganda. We know that many of you even fear to come back home because you know what happens to those that return home. Many of you don't risk the brutality. We know that Ugandans like Sam Mugumya, who returned from a Congolese prison, was abducted weeks ago, and up to now, he's missing. Nobody knows where Sam Mugumya is. We know Robert Kayingo Luja, a lawyer who was recently abducted from the airport, kept incommunicado for a month before being forced back in exile without even stepping foot in his house. The examples are many, ladies and gentlemen, but I tell you, my friends, we are fighting so that you can return to your home, to your families, to freedom and dignity. We are fighting so that you are received with roses and not handcuffs. We fight so that Uganda can give your children the chances and opportunities that you never got. That is why we fight. Now to General Museveni. I know you don't like listening to young people or even listening to anybody at all, but at least listen to your friend and Bushwalk comrade, General Kainda Otafire. I want you to remember that Uganda was here before you, and Uganda will be here long after you are gone. You don't have to burn it down on your way out. The best guarantee for your legacy, for your security, and for what you and your people have earned in the last 40 years is to allow a peaceful, orderly, and democratic transition of power. That opportunity is available because we are not vengeful people. We still believe in peace. We still believe in justice. And yes, we believe in reconciliation. All we want is a free and fair election. No military violence, no police brutality. That is not too much to ask for.
Yes, that is not too much to ask, Bobby. And we are hoping that Uganda will have a very peaceful election and transition if indeed Bobi Wine will be elected. Because yes, here's the big question. Do you think with the realities of Uganda, Winning an election in Uganda is not just about popularity. You know that. It's about navigating a system designed to keep Museveni in power ever since. We have seen opposition rallies often blocked. Supporters face intimidation. Election commission reject signatures or delayed clearance. Security forces are deployed to silence the critics. The media is muzzled. I mean, nothing when it comes to election year is always going right in terms of transparency. And hovering in the background is Museveni's son, General Muhoozi Kainerugaba. I don't know if I spelled his name well, but I know it's Kenai something, who many believe is, being groomed to take over. For critics, the signals not democracy but dynasty politics. So, Museveni still wants to hold on so that he groom his son. By the time he's stepping out, he becomes the president. While Bobi Wine has the people, Museveni still holds the system. This is the big danger, especially for Bobi Wine. And that system has proven brutality. And this has been very effective in keeping him in power. So, what does it take for Uganda's youth? I mean, for Uganda to change, the youth has to really come out so strongly in 2026 election. Because this time, this election is not just about these two men. It's about Uganda's 48 million people, and especially the youth. Uganda is one of the youngest countries in the world. Over 77% of its population is below the age of 30. Just imagine that. Yet, youth unemployment is still staggeringly high. Corruption is still rampant. Opportunities are very limited. For many young Ugandans, Bobi Wine actually represents hope. Hope that the older can finally be dismantled. That fresh ideas can lead to jobs, to innovation, to dignity. But if this election is once again rigged or violently suppressed, frustration could boil over in Uganda. So this time, it's not about survival. It's about reclaiming their voice and about demanding that democracy finally gets a meaning. Will the youths come out to, defend the democracy? Or will they be shattered? Well, the roadblocks are so obvious. We know about internet shutdowns, to block communication, military deployment, to intimidate voters, arrest and tortures of activists, court cases to frustrate opposition campaigns, and an outright manipulation of results. And we heard from the previous speech, Bobi Wine actually has warned that his supporters must prepare. Museveni's camp has always made it clear that they will not step aside quietly. And this raises a dangerous possibility, especially now that 2026 election may not be decided by ballots alone, but by the balance of power between, the will of the people and the might of the state. Across Africa, the question of aging leaders clinging to power has become a crisis. I always call them zombies or dinosaurs. From Cameroon's Paul Biya to Equatorial Guinea's Obiang, from Zimbabwe's late Robert Mugabe to Algeria's Abdelaziz Bouteflika, Africa is littered with leaders who refuse to leave office until age or death forces them out, which is really, really sad. Uganda's 2026 election will be a test case. If Museveni steps down, highly unlikely, it could signal a new era of peaceful transition. If he refuses, it will confirm to other aging leaders that holding on is still possible, no matter the cost of democracy. The world will be watching. I mean, we can't wait for 2026 Uganda's election because it will be either an end of a 4-year decade of Museveni's leadership to maybe a new era, or maybe the continuity of the same. So what can we expect in Uganda? One scenario is that Bobi Wine wins decisively with so much public support that even Museveni cannot deny it. Well, this would usher Uganda in first peaceful transfer of power in decades. Another scenario is that Museveni uses the state machinery, to declare victory once again, sparking protests, unrest, and secular violence continues. A third scenario can be a negotiation where Museveni perhaps allows, space for reforms or even grooms successor while holding the influence behind the scenes. Each path carries potential risks, but one thing is certain. The 2026 election is not just another poll. It is a battle of the soul of Uganda, and we can't wait to see how the outcome will be. So here we are, Museveni, the dinosaur who has ruled Uganda for 40 years, once again asking for the people to vote. And Bobi Wine, the pop star turned politician, once again daring to challenge the throne. Will 2026 finally mark the end of Museveni's long reign? Will Ugandan youth finally rise? We wait to see. Because the answer lies not only in the ballot box, but in the courage of the people, the vigilance of observers, and the resilience of those who believe that Uganda deserves better. Anyway, that brings me to the end of this video. Who do you think will win Uganda's 2026 election? Will it be Bobi Wine or the Muzee himself again? All in all, 2026 elections in Uganda await. Thank you very much for tuning up to the end. Before we go, I would like you to take 3 seconds of this video to just hit on that subscribe button and also hit on that notification bar so that anytime Africa is Marwa does a video, you're able to be notified. All the best to Bobi Wine.